Shalom, sweet people. I am Maker Strong. My Maker makes me strong. And I came to you guys today with another installment of Celibacy is Easy. Now, this one is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to concentrate on what I've been learning this week. So you guys are invited along with my journey. And this week has been about learning, I guess, intentional miscommunications. All right. And I've put a nail in the coffin of that. Okay. So let me explain. So there are people in this world who, for whatever reason, they enjoy misunderstandings. Or sometimes they are using misunderstandings to test other people. Okay. So they will say something and then, you know, it sounds like something that may be negative or anything like that. And then they will say, well, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Can't you take a joke? And then if you do the same thing, kid back with them, they get butthurt about it. They get actually very sensitive about it. And so it's like, well, why was it okay for you to do that to me? But when I kind of give it back to you, it's a problem. So there's that. And then there's also language barriers. So let me just keep this point in the front. There are people, no matter what language they speak, they thrive on miscommunication. Like even people in their own language, their native tongue, people who speak English like I do, will misrepresent or miscommunicate or miss something, right? Misfire in the communication intentionally. They will do it just to make sure that they are aggravating you for whatever, however, for whatever reason that makes them happy. I don't know, but they will do it on purpose. Okay. But there are also people who enjoy miscommunication and they do it in their own language, but they also will do it in another language. And they really thrive in doing it in another language because the other person has to do the double work of trying to determine, well, was this intentional or is it just a language barrier? And that's why I really don't like dating men who don't originally or speak English as a native language. Um, you know, I don't mind being friends with people from wherever they're from, you know. But I noticed that even in my friendships, there's like a lot of miscommunication. Like sometimes if I have to use Google to interpret something, Google Translate is not very, it's it's good, but it's not great. And especially when you use a lot of colloquialisms and idiomatic speech, it's definitely not going to be your friend because it's going to give the person the literal breakdown of the words that you said. And those things may not make sense. So it's almost like I said, some people actually thrive on confusion. They enjoy having misfires and having to explain what they mean or making you explain what you mean, right?
This could actually be one of those situations where they can dish it, but they can't take it. And I would suggest that if somebody is doing that, it's still not okay. Like, maybe even ask, well, how would you feel if I said that to you? Or how would you feel if I said that about you? And if they say, well, I would just accept it as, it's just a joke. I'm just joking. Then, maybe your joking style, your humor is not compatible. Maybe that's what it is. But I think sometimes it's that toxic, predatory type of thing where, and I hate to just blame this on men because it happens cross gender, but I've only experienced it with, men that are trying to date me. A toxic behavior is kind of like just to see how far they can take it, like see what they can do and what my response will be. And it's a bunch of gameplay and all that, but because I don't really have time for that in my life, I don't put up with that. I usually communicate very straightforward, exactly what I want, exactly what I'm feeling. And that's, to me, it's fair to have that in return. And I wouldn't want to talk to somebody disrespectfully, and I wouldn't want them to talk to me that way either. But yes, I've only experienced that with certain men that are trying to test their boundaries or something like that. And then they will make it out to be just a joke.
So say something happened at work and it made you really excited. And the other person who's listening to you, they, I don't know. Again, I don't really know why some people are like the way they are, but this is just how people are sometimes. They hear you, you're excited, and they don't like your positive flow. They don't like your positive energy. So, because of that, when they hear your words, they're hearing something else. They're hearing that you got promoted because you are a goody two shoes. Okay. Or they're hearing that, well, yeah, that's probably why all your coworkers hate you. You know, it's like, wait, how did we go from me talking about my promotion that I'm excited about to you telling me that it's because of me being something negative, or seeing something in a negative light? So, one part of that is like in your native language, you will have people who communicate that way because they're toxic and they want to spread their toxicity to you. So they don't want your good news. They don't want your happy stuff that that you're laughing and smiling about. They want to take that down. They want to have control of that conversation by making you defend yourself. Okay. Even though there's nothing to defend, but they're not going to be happy with you or happy about what you're happy about. Okay. When you are dealing with somebody who likes confusion, it's easier for them to cause confusion in another language. Somebody calls me a gold digger. Oh, so you're a gold digger. All right. They've heard the word before and they say that about me. And then I say, what would make you think that I'm a gold digger? Like, what would give you that impression? And then for my response or whatever, so then they can say, oh, what does that word mean? Because I thought it meant very nice person, somebody that is golden. And they might be lying. I'm pretty sure they are lying. But um, I mean, I'm going to say that I'm pretty sure because it's not that hard to find information about certain words online. So if a person is using those words, especially a person who's like an English language learner, working with English language learners for over 20 years, as I have, most of the time they don't use words that they're not confident in using. So let that inform you if at all possible. But again, so it's like either they say it, and if you don't laugh, if you don't take it as they're joking, they can always backpedal and go, oh, I don't really know what it means. I just heard somebody say that. You see what I mean? So it's like an intentional confusion, but then they don't want you to be like upset about it, or they don't want you to go away. Say it like that. They don't want you to go away. So they push those things, the boundaries of how they can talk to you. So another thing is when you're talking to somebody in another that is an English language learner, um, they still may be the types of people who like confusion. And they use the confusion of the language to their advantage, but it's not really an advantage. It's a waste of your time and it's a waste of theirs. But they don't mind wasting their time because they're the ones doing it, you see? Another way is like when people are intentionally taking what you're saying wrong And it may stem from just a negative view of you to begin with. Like they have a negative view of you, no matter what you've done or no matter what you say, it's always going to be wrong in their mind. And you're always going to have to 10 times acrobats to make them understand that your intentions are pure, your intentions are good. That's another type of toxicity. And all of these are things that I can't I can't bring those energies into my situation because there's too much good stuff going on for me, guys. I have too many things to be happy about than to deal with somebody who hasn't done some inner work and dealt with maybe some things that they are dealing with, like they haven't dealt with it. So their communication style is very negative and things like that. I had a guy who was like, he asked me to send him a picture of me in a bathing suit. And I was like, why would I do that? And he was like, well, if we keep talking, you'll get more confident with me. And I was like, well, I am confident, but maybe we're defining that word differently. And again, he's an English language learner, right? So he was like, oh, no, I didn't mean like that. I mean, I don't know what he meant because he didn't really go into detail, but he was like, confident. Like, so in his mind, if I'm confident, I'm going to send a person that I just started talking to a picture of myself in a bathing suit. That's his definition. And probably by the fact that maybe he's talked to other women and they've done that. I have confidence, but I don't need you, a person that I just met, having certain types of pictures of me. I'm a modest woman. And whether or, depending on how things go, you may end up having more pictures of me than you want. But for the most part, if I just met you, I'm on the internet. I'm on Facebook. There's lots of pictures of me all over the place. But it seems to me like this person is lazy or they're doing some kind of testing that they do to these young girls. They don't realize that I'm over 50 years old and I just don't have time to play. I have too much going on in my life. So anyway, I hope these tips just kind of like alerted you to when people are being very manipulative in the way that they communicate with you, that might be intentionally misunderstanding you. Different communication styles that are intentionally miscommunicated. And hopefully it helps. I do these videos to help you guys. And it does kind of help me. It definitely helps me to keep a vlog of it because I've dealt with these things before, but like for some reason, this past 7 days, past week has been rife with people who just want to see me in a certain light, or they want me to defend myself as I talk to them. I'm not going to do it. I'm not. Either you and I have a compatible way of communicating or we don't. And if we don't, that's fine. Go find you somebody that you can compatibly communicate with.
Really seek clarity in a very positive way, not jumping to some conclusion that you mean poorly or you mean something bad. But that said, also recognize when somebody says something that's blatant and then they try to turn it around and say, oh, no, that's not what I meant. Also, keep your spidey senses tingling for that because, okay, so for example, I had somebody tell me that I was too formal. And I mean, I don't want to be too anything for anybody. So if I'm too formal and just being me is too anything, that's fine. You know what I mean? It's like that just means that we're gonna have a distance that we can go and no further because I'm too this, right? And I am a very formal person. As you guys can tell, like 14 plus years now, no sex. You can probably tell that I'm very formal. And so, yes, I mean, I'm not gonna just be telling somebody all my life story that I just met. So I have to see what your angle is. But I am very open to communicating with anybody. But there's just certain things that I feel like only go for that small group, my small group of friends. And that takes time. You have to make it into that small group. But there are predators
guys, there are predators out there in this world who they are looking for somebody to use, abuse, take advantage of, and they will start by using intentional misunderstandings where they and it's even worse. Like I said, it's even worse if the two of you don't speak the same language originally, because if they are that type of person, they're going to use that to their advantage. It's not really an advantage, but it's just something that they do because they want to have some type of control or authority or something like that. Whatever it is, it's not good. It's very nasty. And so for me, it's like if I have a misunderstanding with somebody, I will try my best to explain a couple of times. But if my explanation a couple of times is not making it to the forefront of where both of us are really trying to think the best of each other and not saying, well, you do this and this is I'm accusing you of this and like accusations here instead of like, oh, okay, I think I get it. And even if that's something that you're like, well, I don't like that, then you could just say, I don't like that. And even when I said like, well, I don't like something, it's almost like I have to accept that the person is just kidding. But I don't accept that because that's my boundary, right? And you guys, if you encounter somebody that it seems like you're just constantly having, it's like you try to talk to them and then they from the jump, they start getting you twisted or warping your words, or maybe they use the exact words you said without context or meaning. And then they're like, well, you said this and now that made me mad. And it's like, all right. For me, you gotta do whatever you want to do, okay? But for me, it's a no-go. Okay, it's a no-go. So I learned that within the last 7 days, I've been kind of dealing with, I don't know what it is. I guess it's like what the fluctuation of the ocean or what. I'm a Pisces, so maybe it's got something to do. I don't know. But whatever it is not okay. It's not okay. And plus, like we're moving. I told you guys that. I think I told y'all that before that we're gonna be leaving here. And so I got a lot of stuff going on. I don't have time for this kind of nonsense. Like I said, I will try to explain if there might be a misunderstanding or something like that. I'll try to give like my explanation, but I'm only gonna do that a couple of times because if you're not understanding after time number 2, I don't know. I don't have any other words to make myself more clear. And that is already an indication that our communication styles are very different. Not a bad thing. I can be a good person, you can be a good person, and we still might not be compatible, right? So it's like our communication style is not compatible. And for me, I just don't have I work too much to invest a lot of my time into trying to make something fit that doesn't fit. And that's what it boils down to. So I hope this helped you guys. Just avoid that intentional misunderstanding that people do. It's really toxic. And I just don't have room in my life for that type of nonsense. And I hope this helps. Shalom.